Notice, in verse 32, it says that at evening, when the sun had set, they brought to him all who were sick and those who were demon-possessed, and the whole city was gathered together at the door, and he healed all of them. So please understand, that night, he spent a lot of time just ministering, okay? Of course, understand, he could have cut to the chase and just waved up his arm like a magic wand and healed everybody at once, but that's not the way he does it. He does it one at a time, individually, personally. Okay, so notice this took all the way into the late evening, which is significant to look at, since our verse today begins in verse 35. It says, now in the morning, having risen a long while before daylight, right? He went out and departed from a solitary place, and there he prayed. So after seriously, like the longest night of ministering and healing the sick and ministering to people, and he wakes up before the sun comes up to what? To spend time with his Father, to commune with his Father. I love this. Now, we talked about this while we were in the book of Habakkuk a few weeks ago, or a few months ago, but you talk about the fact that there's a precedent in the Bible, especially in the Gospels, for when it's set by Jesus, that he wakes up early in the morning to spend time with his Father. And if it's good for Jesus, it should be good for us, right? I made a point how important it is for us to develop a discipline to wake up early in the morning to spend time with God. Because that's the pattern or the template that is given to us. I'll put it this way. Because obviously I'm not trying to like say you're wrong in doing your devotions at night or whatever, but I'll tell you this. Here in the Gospels and also elsewhere, as it talks about his mercies are new every single morning. His mercies are new. The Bible doesn't say that his mercies are new once you get off work and nobody wants to go to after hour or whatever, and you come home, there's nothing to watch on TV. Yeah, I'll go and spend time with Jesus. No. Morning by morning, you wake up, spend time with him. That's the pattern, the precedence. Develop that discipline. Just like working out, you have to have discipline. See, I'll tell you this. How many of you guys drink coffee? I expect that. Right? When do you guys drink it? In the morning, right? What is coffee? A stimulant, right? Who knows that I've had coffee this morning? Oh yes, a lot of it, right? And so, if you're going to be the most awake in the morning, should that be the time you set aside to spend with Jesus as you're, stimulated and most awake? Most of us want to wait till at the end of the day and we got nothing going on, there's nothing to watch, and we kind of, I can't sleep. I'm going to fall asleep to reading the Bible. How many people do that? Well, thanks a lot. God might say thanks a lot, But, because I'll tell you this, it's like I don't take it as an insult, but people say, oh yeah, when I have to, I'll fall asleep, I'll put you on YouTube to fall asleep, right? People say that. Now I'm like, oh, thankful, thanks for tuning in, but that's kind of like a slight backhanded insult, like, I'm going to put you on so you can put me to sleep, right? But in devotion, some of us treat God like that. As we're like, well, you know what? I just got nothing to going on tonight, and I want to go to sleep, so I'm going to open up the Word and fall asleep to it. No. The Bible is very specific. Open it up in the morning while you have your coffee. If you can't wake up early, or you wake up earlier, I don't know. I know a lot of you guys wake up early. I get it. But can you just spare an extra 15 minutes? Just wake up 15 minutes early. Right? Again, his mercies are to be had in the morning. How many of you guys get direct deposit from your work? Yeah. But guess what? When does it come in? That magical time, right? When that magical time between 3 to 5 o'clock with the banks, it kind of gets in your account, right? Or let me put it this way. We had those stimulus, the 3 of them from the government the last year, right? Right, and some people might have needed it really drastically and desperately, and guess what? When does it come in? The stimulus and your direct deposits don't get into your account like, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, right? It always comes that magical time in the morning, 3 to 5, whatever, in the morning with the banks, right? If you need that stimulus, when you wake up, you don't wait till 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock at night to check if it's in the bank account, right? You go right away to check if that stimulus has gotten into your account right away, right? Well, I think his mercies are way better than the stimulus. His mercies are incredible, inexhaustive, right? And yet we don't seek it, we don't receive it. Well, we're checking for the stimulus, we're making sure our direct deposit is in there in the morning. Yet, how is it that we can't just go to him in the morning, wake up an extra 15 minutes to seek him and receive that mercy? So again, I don't understand it, but I've come to love it. I've come to welcome it. I've come to just look forward to it, waking up all the time, early in the morning. So, as you see that, he's risen before daylight, right? He goes to a solitary place, and there he prayed. And Simon and those who were with him searched for him. And when they found him, they said to him, "Everyone is looking for you." So it's been at least 2 hours or something that he's spending with the Father, of course. I'm sure they didn't search for him while the sun's not up. So he went out there to spend time with his Father before the sun went up. So now they're about maybe 1 or 2 hours later, they're searching for him. And what do they say? "Hey, Jesus, let's get going. Everybody is looking for you." And I find this fascinating because here you have God the Son communing and communicating with God the Father. That blows my mind. And yet, instead of like these disciples coming and be like, "Oh, hey, you know what, Jesus? What was that conversation that you were having with the Father? Tell us. What was that communication you guys were having? How did God the Father minister to you about the ministry last night? Tell us, right? Instead of having that attitude, "Hey, let's get going. Everybody's looking for you. We got things to do, ministries to build, worship teams to set up, all these things." Let's stop, slow it down. Now, I'm not saying if I was there, I would have did something different, but still, that's a lesson for us. And what I want to say is, think about if Jesus would have been asked, how was that time? And the incredible devotion that he could have given to his disciples as he could explain all. The Father and I are one. And we talked about this, and we spoke about this. That incredible insight and depth, right? But don't fault the disciples too much, because we all do the same thing. Well, especially us guys. We wake up in the morning, and most of us, our wives wake up earlier, right? Because they're more into doing things and fixing things for the kids. And when you wake up early, right? You come downstairs like I do. You look to the devotional room. Our wives are in there doing their devotions, right? How many of us don't even think about, well, she has just been communicating with Jesus. Let me ask her what the conversation was like, or what impressed her about the Bible, the scripture. No, we said, "Honey, where's the coffee? You didn't make the coffee. I can't find the half and half. What did you do? I told you, I sent you a list when you were at Walmart to get half and half. I can't have my coffee without half and half." And you get your coffee, go upstairs in the shower. "Honey, where's the towel? I'm late, and where's the towel?" And you get out. "Honey, come up here. I don't know if this matches my shoes, this shirt." And look, it's just slow it down, because how beautiful it is for her to be spending time. And how sad it is. We don't, as guys, take the time and say, "So, how did the Lord minister to you? How did the Lord minister to you?" Right? Wow. Slow it down. I'm blessed, because Jody and I have been married for close to 20 years, 3 months, and then we'll be 20 years. I can say safely that there's not a morning that has gone by where I've not come down or woken up and not seen her do her devotions. Not one day. It's incredible. And I'm blessed because she'll tell me, and I'll sit there, and she wants to tell me what she's learning, what she's getting, and it's a beautiful time that we have, right? But again, most of us don't think about that, but most of us don't even count it a value to do that. And it's reciprocal too, because your husbands are the leaders of the family. You should ask him what he's learning, right? But we're so busy and getting the kids out the door, making sure they don't miss the bus, and but like, hey, marriage takes work. Marriage takes work. And some of these things are small things that will build into the long-term relationship. And you have to put in effort. You really do. And so again, I see this as something that all of us, or most of us, do. And the disciples did it with Jesus. Hey, let's go. Hey, come on. When he's looking for you, who cares? Let them wait. That time is precious. I just think if they would have asked, and it would have been recorded by Mark, Jesus' reply, how much beautiful that would be right here. So, anyway, so he then said to them, okay, let us go into the next town that I may preach there also, because for this very purpose I have come forward. Now he says, he goes there, preaching in the synagogues throughout all Galilee and casting out demons. So now notice, he's had encounters with demoniacs, that is, people that were possessed by demons. Now notice, a leper came to him, imploring him, kneeling down, and saying to him, if you are willing, you can make me clean. So this leper, of course we know leprosy is a type of sin. Today it's called Hansen's disease. Today, it's curable, but back in those days it wasn't. And guess what? You talk about leprosy as a death sentence. We talked about COVID. If you get into a hospital, they isolate you. Leprosy was pretty cruel too. Okay, you were supposed to be isolated, and you were supposed to live out the rest of your days in a leper colony. And the way you die, or the way leprosy affects you, is it deadens the nerve endings on your extremities, especially initially. So, like missionaries in the past have gone to, leper colonies and seen or found lepers sleeping in these caves, in these colonies, but the rats are gnawing at their extremities, their fingers and their toes. They don't even know it because their nerve endings are dead. And that's sin right there, because you don't even know that what you're doing is killing you. But it is killing you slowly. And so these lepers, right? He comes imploring. That is begging. That is, he's humble. He's kneeling. So he's humble. Right? He's desperate. Notice, that's exactly how we should go before Jesus. Desperate and with humility. Not like a rich young ruler who thinks he stands out in the crowd. What must I do to be saved? Right? Because he knows that he's did almost everything right. And it was kind of like let me show off my works, basically. And so Jesus basically, becomes all things to all men. He said, do certain things. He said, I've done all this. What else must I do, right? That's arrogance. When this leper comes, imploring, begging, desperate, and kneeling, humble, and says, if you are willing. If you are willing, and of course, please understand the heart of our Father and the heart of our Savior is that He is always willing. When you pray, whatever prayer you want to pray, He's always willing to do whatever. Let me just say this. He wants to do whatever you pray. But He doesn't always say yes. He wants to because He's a good Father. Let me explain it this way. Say, for instance, Josiah comes to me. And he says, Dad, so, for the rest of my time at the house, when I turn 18, I'm going to go to college. But for that rest of my time, I'm 14 now, the next 4 years, could I just have 10 bowls of ice cream, chocolate chip, mint, whatever, every single night, 10 bowls, every single night, and watch a movie every single night until I leave? Because then when he goes to college, he'll have 20 bowls, right? And so because I cap it at 10, so. But would I? Yeah, I'm willing. I want to. Because why? Again, you fathers know this, you mothers know this. There's nothing like seeing your kids, and maybe they're downstairs eating a bowl of ice cream, and the look of satisfaction, the look of pure joy and pleasure as he scoops that ice cream and puts it in his mouth, and just like so thankful, so happy. He's on cloud nine. He's like, I want that look for my kids. I enjoy those looks. I want them to be there all the time. But there's the end game too. And that is not the immediate satisfaction, but 20 years from now. Or something like that, right? Because, I want him to play football, as a tight end, not as an offensive lineman, right? And so if I want him to play football as a tight end, then he can't have 10 bowls of ice cream every single night until he gets to 18, right? And so we all have that, as a parent. Yeah, I will give you whatever because we can't resist that look of satisfaction and thank you, Daddy, for whatever, right? But we also know that the end game is, it's not going to be, the immediate satisfaction is there, but 5, 10, 20 years from now, that's not going to be the best, right? The same with Jesus. The guy comes and says, if you were willing. Well, of course he's willing. And we're going to see he is willing and he does do it. But just because he is willing in your prayer doesn't mean he's always going to say yes, because he's looking at long term and he's looking, I get it, he wants us to be so excited, like every day to be like Christmas, opening presents. But is that going to be healthy for our kids if every day was Christmas? Right? And so that's the thing. You have to kind of put that in perspective. And it's not like when he says no, he's like, no, I'm not going to give it to you like that. No, he says no. He wants to say yes because that look of satisfaction is pure joy to him. But he also knows it's not going to be the best. And so, he says, if you were willing, you can make me king. Well, then Jesus was moved with compassion. He stretched out his hand and touched him. Well, sometimes in our English we lose kind of like a beautiful picture because, the word compassion is literally to be so moved that he felt it in his bowels. I mean, most of you guys have been coming to this church for a while. You guys know that in those days, the Roman days and the Greeks and even the Jews, they believed that the deepest emotions was felt in the stomach, in the bowels. You guys know that, right? You've been coming to my church. And if you've been going elsewhere, you should know it too. You should be well taught. In those days, in the ancient days, not like us, we feel it in our heart. We, in Western culture, thinks that deep emotion is felt in the heart, right? Their days, it's the bowels. Think about you millennials or Gen Z, and you guys fall in love, go to the beach, and you guys all make that, one of you guys do this, and the other does that, and you guys take a picture with the sunset, the sun's right in the middle. And think about the Gen Zs in the Roman days, like a fist of turds, a couple of turds, like filming it. That is what they consider to be that deep emotional feeling, right? Which this is the way I operate. Obviously, you guys know I have a mind that's kind of weird. This is what I think of. Like, you think about some of the most amazing, iconic songs out there. And if they were sang back then, like the Titanic went down in the Mediterranean, and Celine Dion, instead of singing, "My Heart Will Go On," she'd be singing, "My bowels will keep running." Basically, that's what it would be, right? Or what about Billy Ray Cyrus as is no longer achy breaky heart, it's achy breaky fart, right? That's what it would be, because that's right here, the emotions right there. That's where they felt it. That's why Pooh Bear was ahead of his time, because he's always talking about, I have a rumble in my tummy, right? Because he felt it. He was a bear of compassion, right? So you have this, and you guys got to understand this now, right? This whole, that's where they felt. That's where we have the phrase gut feeling, right? Well, guess what? Jesus felt it in his gut. He had that rumbling in his tumbling, right? And he had compassion, and he stretched out his hand and touched him. We don't understand the significance. Like I said, leprosy was a death sentence. It was basically a very horrible, lonely way to die. And we all need physical touch, right? But this guy, most likely, this leper has not felt that physical touch for a year, maybe 2, maybe 5, however long he's been a leper, right? You know, people, psychologists, sociologists, they've done studies, and they know that when we're being brought up, like our developmental years, we need physical touch. We do. We need physical touch from our parents, our siblings, our friends. We need physical touch in order for us to develop emotionally and even spiritually and all that. We need that physical touch, right? They did studies with monkeys, and when they were born, they kind of took some monkeys by themselves, locked them in cages, and you know, these monkeys that were in cages were kept from being touched by their monkey moms and their monkey brothers and all the, and even the people tending, the people were not even touching them. Guess what? They were only fed through the cage like with the bottom. These monkeys, as they begin to develop, you know, physically, when they got older, they were so aggressive and mean. They didn't develop properly. Because why? Because we need that physical touch. And this leper, think about it, this leper has not been touched for like 2, maybe 5 years. So what does Jesus do right away? Notice, he doesn't heal him and then he's all fine, and then he touched him. Jesus went and touched him with all the leprosy, and then he was healed. And I imagine just this leper begins to cry and sob and weep because why? Because that's something that he's not felt or had for 5 years, maybe? We don't know. For a long time. That's exactly what Jesus does. As he cleanses this leper, and he becomes everything that this leper has been longing for. That's powerful, guys. Because so much we think, yeah, leprosy is a type of sin. And this healing, Jesus healing this leper, is like a type of us being saved, right? Well, yeah, we get saved, but not just that. He becomes everything that you've ever needed. Maybe your dad has maybe never been the most gentle or the most faithful or whatever. He becomes that dad who will always be gentle and faithful. He is faithful because he says he cannot be anything else but faithful, because if he's not, then he is denying who he is. He is gentle because he says, come to me, all ye who labor and are heavy laden, I will give you rest, for I am gentle and lowly in heart. Right? He's always there. Maybe you have a mother who is always absent. Well, guess what? He will always be there. He says he will never, ever leave you or forsake you. Maybe you've never had a friend. Maybe you're like, you know, like me. When I was growing up, I was just messed up. I never had a close friend. He becomes that friend that the Bible says is closer than a brother. And you've been longing for that. He becomes, that's why the name I am is so important. The tetragrammaton, the I am. Because why? Because he is. He becomes everything that you've ever wanted. I'll tell you this, none of us here has the perfect upbringing. Every one of us here has something that we're missing from life, right? And it's described that, it's that hole in the heart, or we should say the bowels, right? Because, you know, we know it's the bowels, but the hole is like it also, basically, right? Anyways, but like, he becomes that. Nobody here can say, well, I don't need anything. Because if you do, then you're like that person that Jesus says you're not sick, and you don't need a physician, right? All of us, I guarantee all of us have a need. And all of us don't have that same need. But we have that great Savior who can become all of those needs to each and every one of us individually. And so whether you're young, old, good looking, not, bearded, hat, whatever, leaving, coming, whatever, commuting, whatever, he is exactly who we need him to be. Just like the very fact that before this leper was cleansed, he reached out exactly what he was not supposed to do. Look, you guys can finish the passage. Of course, this leper gets healed, and Jesus says, "Go to the priest to show yourself." And of course, that's a provision in the law in Leviticus 14. And we might get into it next week, but he doesn't. He goes and spreads the word, right? But right now, as we partake of communion, I want to just kind of spend a little time just kind of focusing on this whole idea of He is that I am. He is that God who says, "What do you need? Who do you need me to be?" Right? Because that's who He wants to be to you. And let's go turn it up.